Welcome back. This is lesson 4 for 8th grade, module 1 of Into Math. So let's get started and look at the I can statement. That'll always be the first thing that you want to look at and talk about. I can identify and perform rotations and describe a rotation on a coordinate plane algebraically. So a rotation is just another type of transformation. And I'm guessing you know the word rotate. So you probably kind of understand a little bit of what you're going to be doing already. So let's go ahead and look at the Spark Your Learning. It says use tracing paper to trace a copy of this recycling symbol. Place the tip of your pencil in the center of the symbol and turn the paper about the point. So it's kind of like a little bit like a spinner, but not exactly. You're actually spinning the whole dial rather than just the arrow or whatever. So you're going to put your pencil right in the middle once you've traced it and you have it, and then you'll spin the dial around. You'll see that the original design reappears 3 times in every full turn. In the space provided, so down here, I didn't do the whole thing so we could kind of see this bigger. Um, Sketch a design that reappears every quarter of a full turn. Trace the shape on tracing paper, then turn it to check your work. So pause the video here, play around with that, have fun with it, and then when you're ready to start the next page, the build understanding, go ahead and start the video again. Okay, so I hope you did that. Spark Your Learning. Let's look at the build understanding. So again, they have this beautiful yellow box. And they say a rotation is a transformation in which a figure is turned around a point. That point is called the center of rotation. And it may be like this one in the center of the figure or the shape, but you'll see in just a minute that it may not be that point in the center of the shape itself. So let's look at number 1. It says trace the hexagon and points P, Q, and R on tracing paper. So you kind of want to just trace this whole thing just like it is with P here, Q here, R here, and then all the other, you can put all the letters there also, that'll help you. A says use a ruler and a protractor to complete the table. So you're going to measure the length of JK and put how many millimeters it is, measure the angle JQN, so JQN, and write the degrees there. B, place the tip of a pencil on point R. So you're going to put your pencil right there and rotate the hexagon 90 degrees, 1/4 turn or 1/4 turn clockwise about that point. So what you can do, just a little side note, you can stop the video at any point, as I'm sure you know, and do the problem. Or you can kind of listen to the whole thing, then stop and do all of them. So it's kind of up to you. You have a lot of flexibility how you want to do each lesson. Okay, so let's keep going. We talked about that first part of B. What happens to the measure of JQN? What happens to the length of JK? And then they want you to name a pair of parallel sides in the shape. What happens to the pair when the shape is rotated? So do they stay parallel? Are they not parallel anymore? Just whatever you notice happening. Then it says C. This one's a little interesting. Move the center of rotation by placing the tip of your pencil on point P. So right here, you're going to put your pencil there. Rotate the shape about point P. Describe the rotation. How is it different from the rotation in part B where you used R as the point of rotation, center of rotation? So if you kind of think about it, it's almost like you could think about like a string being attached and you're kind of just rotating this whole thing around that point P. And you could kind of almost think of it also like the sun, and is P, and that hexagon is the earth and how it rotates around the sun. The earth rotates around the sun. So play around with that, super fun. And then D, draw an arrow inside your hexagon that points to the top of the shape. So you want to, it just can be like a little arrow here. When you rotate the shape 180 degrees, a half turn, what happens to the direction of the arrow in the image? Where is it now? Is it in the same place? Is it in a different place? And why did that happen? So go ahead and do those things, pause the video, work on that. And then you could also do this turn and talk. I haven't talked about that too much, but that's really fun to just, those are always interesting questions. So go ahead and pause, and then we can go to the next pages. All right, so let's look at Step It Out. Number 2 says you can rotate the letter N, figure 1, and get the letter Z, figure 2. It was formed by rotating figure 1 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. That's our center of rotation. Use a ruler and a protractor to measure the line segments and angles of both figures. What is the relationship between the side lengths and angle measures of the image and the pre-image? Are they the same? Are they different? How have they changed? Have they not changed? Are they just in a different place? Whatever it seems like has happened to each thing, each line segment or each angle. B, it says in figure 1, AB is parallel to DC, so AB segment is parallel to segment DC. What is the relationship between A prime B prime and D prime C prime in figure 2? So go ahead and do B. C, fill in the coordinates for each point. So you're going to fill in this table looking at each point, A, B, C, and D here, A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime there. Then you're going to do D and look at the relationships that you see in the table between the coordinates of the vertices in figure 1 and figure 2. And this is where you're going to write a rule to find the coordinates of the vertices of any figure rotated 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. And then in E, they want you to rotate figure 2 counterclockwise, so now you're going the opposite way, about the origin again. Label the result as figure 3, then fill in the table. So now, in this case, in E, figure 2 is your pre-image, and figure 3 will be your image. And so you'll fill in this table with A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime, and then for figure 3, it'll be A prime prime, B prime prime, and so on. And then your rule will be here, and that will be representative of the changes in coordinates of any figure rotated 180 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. So then you'll do G. If you rotate the letter W 180 degrees clockwise, what letter does it resemble? So think about that. You can graph it also if you want, but think about that. So I would encourage you to pause here before you go on to number 3. Do that first question, number 2, on that page of Step It Out, and then go on to number 3. All right, so number 3, figure 1 is rotated to form figure 2. They want you to describe the rotation. Then in B, they want you to fill out the table for the different vertices in each figure. Then C, write the rule that represents the change in coordinates of any figure rotated 180 degrees about the origin. So that's where you'll write your rule. How did the vertices change? What relationships do you notice there? So number 4, a triangle has vertices 2, 4, 5, 1, and 1, 2. Graph the triangle on this graph and label it figure 1. Rotate your figure, figure 1, by this rule that they give you here, and label the image figure 2. Complete the sentence about the rotation. Here's the sentence they want you to figure out or complete. To form figure 2, figure 1 underwent a rotation of 90 degrees, what about the origin? And then in C, rotate figure 1 by this rule, a different rule, and label the image figure 3, and then again complete this sentence. So go ahead and do that part. Pause the video before you go on to the check understanding to make sure all of this is complete, and then you can move on. If you feel comfortable with everything, do the check understanding. If you need more review, go back, that's fine, and just look over some things and then move on to the check understanding. Once you've completed the check understanding and you feel comfortable, go ahead and do this on your own, and you can just see how you feel as you're going along, and then you can move on to the next page. So this next page is homework, and again, this is optional, unless you feel like you need the work, or if it looks really interesting and you just want to try it, it looks kind of cool to me. Go ahead and do that. And then the next page here is the test prep and spiral review. And I would encourage you to do those and have fun with this lesson.